The fluorescent lights in St. Augustine Medical Center buzzed softly as Nurse Daisy Lynn scrubbed her hands for the third time that morning. She wasn't usually this jittery, but the patient in room 417 had stirred a quiet dread in her gut from the moment he was admitted. Howard Franklin, a 56-year-old businessman, had come in 5 days ago with flu-like symptoms, fever, coughing, body aches. But within 48 hours, his condition spiraled. His breathing grew shallow, his skin took on an eerie grayish hue, and most disturbingly, his blood had thickened into something tar-like. Daisy had seen strange illnesses before, but this was something else. As she entered Franklin's room to check his vitals, she noticed a strange vial at the foot of his bed. It wasn't labeled, and it hadn't been there during the morning rounds. Frowning, she tucked it into her scrubs to examine later. Just then, Dr. Pinod Jacob walked in. His jaw was tight, and he avoided meeting her eyes. "What's Franklin's status?" "Still declining. His oxygen saturation keeps dropping. I've tried multiple antivirals, but they're not making a dent," she said, motioning to the monitor. "Honestly, it's like the drugs are making it worse." Dr. Jacob shifted uneasily. "We'll adjust his fluids, keep him stable. This is probably just a severe strain of influenza." "But it's the flu, Daisy," he cut in, voice flat. "We can't panic over every mutation." That night, in the break room, Daisy overheard a conversation between two doctors whispering about a Vertex compound being administered off-label to some patients. One of them, Dr. Kahn, she thought, mentioned phase 2 trials and fast-tracking something under pressure. Daisy stiffened. That name, Vertex Biotech, rung a bell. She'd seen it on promotional pens and conference lanyards around the hospital. By the end of the week, 5 more patients arrived with identical symptoms. The nursing staff began referring to it in hushed tones as the Gray Death, a name that quickly spread as more cases came in. Patients turned gray, then comatose. Tension thickened across the wards. Equipment shortages became routine. Nurses begged for proper protective gear. Then, one of their own collapsed. It was Carla. She'd worked the night shift with Daisy for 3 years. Funny, sharp, always calm in chaos. But now she was in room 509, her skin pale, her breathing labored. "She wasn't even in the high-risk units," a nurse muttered. "She floated 2 days ago," Daisy whispered. Room 417. Suddenly, it wasn't just another wave of patients, it was personal. Daisy stormed into Chief Medical Officer Dr. Leonard Hastings' office the next morning. "This is out of control," she snapped. "We've got staff collapsing, patients dying. Why haven't we contacted the CDC?" Hastings remained seated, fingers steepled. "The hospital can't afford a public panic." "Panic? We need a quarantine at least. And what about that new antiviral trial? What did you give Franklin? What are we giving any of them?" Hastings' gaze hardened. "You're not authorized to ask those questions. You're a nurse, not a researcher." Daisy's fists clenched. "My friend is dying." He sighed. "The hospital recently signed a development deal with Vertex Biotech, tens of millions to fund a new research wing. We're on the brink of transforming this place. An outbreak, real or imagined, would shut it all down. So you'd rather let people die than risk bad PR? I'd rather not destroy everything we've built here based on paranoia." Daisy left, seething. Later that evening, while searching for Carla's file in the nurse's station, the printer behind her whirred unexpectedly. A multi-page document spilled out, an internal memo mistakenly routed to the wrong printer queue. The header read, "Vertex Biotech Trial Efficacy, Phase 2 Emergency Use Protocol." Daisy scanned it, heart pounding. Buried among the jargon were damning details. The compound being tested, VXR-27, was a genetically modified antiviral that hadn't passed FDA approval. The hospital had secretly greenlit its use on select patients under the guise of flu treatment. Even more chilling was a line buried in the risk disclosure. "Subjects may present extreme hematological and respiratory anomalies." She read on. The hospital had received compensation for participation and agreed to suppress trial data to prevent public misinterpretation. Then came an attached email thread. "Keep CDC involvement minimal until results stabilize. Use standard flu diagnostics on intake forms. Do not disclose Vertex affiliation to clinical staff." Daisy couldn't breathe. Her hands shook as she folded the email into her pocket. Suddenly, a shadow passed behind her. She turned. "Just a security guard." "You shouldn't be here after hours," he said, tone flat. She nodded quickly. "Just finishing up." but his lingering stare unsettled her. The next morning, Daisy met with a civil rights attorney, Julia Ramos, in a cramped downtown office, surrounded by stacks of files and takeout boxes. "I can't guarantee protection," Julia said, scanning the email. "Whistleblowers usually lose their jobs, get blackballed. But this?" She looked up, eyes blazing. "This could blow the roof off the whole damn industry. I don't care about the risks. My friend is dying. People are being experimented on without consent. Then we go public. Carefully." Over the next few weeks, the case built momentum. Julia filed injunctions, battled gag orders, and fought court delays tooth and nail. Daisy went back to work, acting normal, quietly collecting more documentation. A second doctor, Dr. Khan, slipped her lab reports anonymously. A third nurse quit without warning. Then came the fallout. Daisy was suspended for unauthorized access to confidential information. The next day, someone broke into her apartment. Her laptop was destroyed. A note on the counter read, "Walk away." She didn't. With Julia's help, she released the documents to an investigative reporter. The headline dropped 2 days later. "Experimental virus trial covered up by major hospital, CDC kept in the dark." The media firestorm was immediate. Protests broke out outside St. Augustine. The hashtag Grey Death Cover-Up trended for days. Facing pressure, the CDC finally arrived, 2 full months after the first case. In a televised statement, a CDC official confirmed what Daisy had feared. The virus was a genetically modified strain created by Vertex Biotech. It wasn't just an antiviral gone wrong, it was a mutation designed to test resistance profiles in live environments. A lab experiment had become a plague. The hospital board resigned. Dr. Hastings was arrested for obstruction of public health and ethics violations. Dr. Jacob, under mounting scrutiny, confessed to signing off on Vertex's protocols in exchange for future grants. Carla never woke up. Daisy visited her every day. Some days she read aloud, other days she just sat there, holding her hand. The legal case dragged on. With public support, more whistleblowers came forward. Other hospitals reported similar Vertex-linked cases. One night, Daisy sat in Julia's office, staring out at the city below, lights blurred through exhaustion. Julia leaned back, stretching. "You did something incredible." "I exposed a company," Daisy said, "but people are still sick. Carla's still in that bed." "Sometimes exposing the truth is the best you can do. You held them accountable. That's more than most ever try." Daisy nodded. She wasn't sure if it felt like victory. Her nursing license was under review. She had no job, no plan, but people knew now. They knew. And maybe, just maybe, that would be enough to stop it from happening again.